Hey everyone, in the garage working on a project, but here's another project I've been working on. On Build Tune Race Live on Facebook, I've been doing a weekly episode. It was going to be twice a month, but I'm going to end up trying to keep it weekly as long as I can keep enough people interested in showing it. Where I travel around, talk to people in the motorsports industries, possibly some shops in the future and all of that. Bring in everyone some good info, some background stories, some just good garage talk. It's a really cool kind of deal that I've came up with, and I'm really enjoy doing it, and I hope you guys enjoy watching it too. So check out the latest episode with Jim Hall. Thanks. I'm with the world famous Jim Hall, and he's done a lot. I've learned a lot from him through some of the stuff I've been doing and racing and no prep and just good ideas, and he's been there to help me. If I made a call at any point in time, said I need a test or I'm going to the track or whatever, he hopped in the car, drove 45 minutes down to help me or wherever I was at, and he was there. Same with my dad. He's been there to help us at any time of the night. Jim especially likes going out on the street and stuff, so if we're doing that, he's absolutely there. So it doesn't matter where we're at or what time it is, he'll be there. So we're going to talk about a lot of things. If you guys have some questions, throw them in there. I'll try to actually need to get a pen and paper so I can write them down in case we need to come back to it.
I'll grab them.
And then I really appreciate it though. Everybody, this is cool. We're just going to do some talking, fun stuff. Got the Vega behind us. We're at Jim's shop here. He does a lot of polishing. We'll talk to him about that. And if you haven't seen some of his polishing work, it's second to none. It's beautiful stuff. So we'll talk a little bit about that. If you guys are local Colorado and you have something cool that needs polished, get with him for sure. And so I'll start off. I really like the part where we talked last time with Matt about, Jim, where did you kind of get into racing? Where did you guys get into racing? What's some stuff, the history? Why'd you get into cars? What do you love about cars? What have you been doing with cars? Just what's your history with cars?
I was born into a car family, I guess. My father, I think I was born in '65, so there, I just told everyone how old I am. I think even before that, I have a picture somewhere. If you go to my Facebook page, just a Jim Hall page, I don't think anything's private. You can even look at my photos. My father raced a C-modified production 57 Chevy. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that picture was taken about '64. And then we did street rods. I mean, I'd come home from school. My dad always had something new. Like one day I got off the school bus. I rode a bus to school. I go home and there's a front engine dragster. I think back then they called them Econo rails or something. But it had a small block in it with a magneto. Okay, we knew about magnetos growing up with snowmobiles and go-karts and stuff like that. Well, after about a day of messing around trying to get this thing to fire, someone grabbed a hold of that magneto. My neighbor did, and that thing let out a zap, and I swear to God, I can't remember how old it was, probably, I think I was maybe 14. I think the dude peed himself. And it was an older mag, so it had to be like a Vertex. I don't think it was a Joe Hunt, but it was a Vertex. But yeah, that was pretty cool. But no, I was born and raised into a car family. My dad raced when he was younger. Then as his family grew, he was and I still remember this to this day. He said, "Get out of racing before you ever start, because all you're gonna do is throw money at it." Oh boy, howdy, he ain't lying. It is a money pit. But no, everything for Corvettes. I mean, he had his deal where he was into street rods for a while. He built this really sweet, I want to say a 4950 Merc. I was still in junior high, so I didn't see it, but it's small block Chevy, chopped and decked, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
It was pretty neat. But and then Corvettes were his thing. I went and saw me and my brother went and saw my father. Oh my gosh, 10 years ago. He had a heart attack and he was in the hospital, and we're talking to him, and he claims, I don't know how true it is, I got a brother and sister, hopefully they're watching, over 200 Corvettes in over 50 years. So
that's crazy.
I remember, like, when I was a senior in high school in 1983, my dad had 5 Corvettes. A week later he had 0 because he was buying and selling, wheeling and dealing. I think by the time I was 11 years old, I think we moved 3 times. Because my dad would wheel and deal. Everything was for sale. He bought, a phone. He's like, oh, if I bought that for $20, I think I could sell it for $30. That was just what he did. He worked at General Motors. He did very well. But yeah, he'd wheel and deal. But cars, we grew up in cars. Cars, snowmobile, he was big time Harley guy too. Hated jet bikes. Throw that out there too. My dad was a big time Harley guy.
Heck yeah. So then your first, drag strip experience, what'd you take? What was it? Street racing experience, what was the first car you
First street racing experience.
We'll go there.
Okay, my father was kind of a hard ass. Not a hard ass, he was set in his ways. So we're 15 years old. He gave us an option. I'll buy you your very first car, or go half on your first car when you turn 16, or you can have a graduation party when you graduate high school. Okay, what 15-year-old kid wouldn't take a car? I took the car. I was like, hell yeah. So we rolled down to Detroit. We bought a 66 El Camino Super Sport, 396 4-speed car. The 396 was in the back, but it had a small block in it. My brother automatically stole the 4-speed out of it. Didn't steal. He talked my dad out of it and said, I need a 4-speed. Jim doesn't. Remember, we're at a graduation party. A few months later, I just got my driver's license, and some kid was running his mouth, and my brother looks at me and says, go wear him out. And I went out and raced this dude. I was 16 years old. I don't even think I had my license a week. I went out and raced this dude, beat him, come back, and I was like, oh my God, this shit's too much fun. And actually, I never ran down the racetrack until I moved here to Colorado in '86.
Really? Wow.
And having a 15-second car was pretty slow.
Well, it's developed a lot. Matt and I were talking about that last week. You can walk in and buy a lot faster car now.
Oh, sure.
And
can.
a few bolt-ons, and everybody needs a cage at that point, and it's pretty crazy. I mean, look at what Danny does with stock Coyote stuff. It's crazy. So it's all progressed. It's all the thing, but the love of cars, the street race, and the love of speed, I guess, or whatever, is all kind of the same as far as any of that goes, whether it was 15 seconds or a 7-second car or whatever. So a lot of people commenting on the car in the background. When did you get the Vega?
February 1989. I was still in the military. And believe it or not, it was the only car I had a truck at the time. I had a 57 Chevy pickup that I'd really like to have back. But maybe I'll replace that someday. But I saw this car down in Motor City, and I just had to have it, so I borrowed the money from my mom, and I went and bought it. Had a 301, had a 283 board to a 301, had a 4-speed in it, and yeah, that was a pretty neat car. We raced that with the 4-speed. It was slow too. It'd run 14.9s, but it'd wheel hop and it'd spin.
And what year did it run 14.9s?
1989.
Yeah, see, that's pretty fast, really.
And then we pulled that same year, we pulled the automatic out of, or pulled the 4-speed out of it. My neighbor, I used to live down in the ghetto, down in Stratton Meadows. Neighbor guy built a Turbo 350. Anyone here is probably some old school guys. Oh, I see Ron Riley's on there.
All right. Asking about an El Camino that you had.
Okay, anyone remember GER torque converter? They were kind of like the Boss Hog. Anyway, so I ordered like a 9.5-inch torque converter. They were, I think, $129 back then.
That's awesome.
And then we put some 410 gears in it, welded the spiders up on it, and BF Goodrich Radial TA's Cargo 1280 in Pueblo.
Wow.
And drive it to the track, 52 miles an hour, but but yeah, it'd go 1280, and then we hurt that motor, built a nicer one, and this one, Pueblo used to be really tough on tech. I mean, compared to nowadays, I remember one time we got booted because we didn't have long wheel studs on the front. Everyone always had them on the back, but didn't have them on the front. And we got the boot for that one day, but that was a long time ago. And then, how do you stop that?
The world famous.
So then we did a new motor, put slicks on it, because the car go 1280 at 105 on a street tire, and then we always lifted because we were street racers, and it'd go 12.0 at 105. So I never did find out how fast it truly was. Probably an easy 1180 car. And that was still, by then I think that was going into 1990.
And then, so Jim was talking earlier, and we'll get some more on it later about what the Vega has had or whatever, but I really liked his, the new name.
Right now we're going with the Vega version 6.0.
6.0. You said you've done it. And
this will be the 6th major build.
Yeah, so Jim and I talked a little bit last night about what we talked about today and just some things. He brought that up, and it's not 2.0, not 3.0, not 4.0. The car's been around a few times, been actually a couple little accidents. And
yes, sir.
But it's back, and that's the plan. Jim has a really cool Mustang as well. He built over how many years? Off and on.
7 years.
Off and on for 7 years. If you guys know the car, it's the Pope. We tagged it. It's extremely clean car, all white, painted, beautifully polished, everything, and it's a really cool car. I don't know, what was kind of your overall plan with the car? Everything, it changed kind of. With the no prep coming up and all that stuff, and
With this car or the Mustang?
the Mustang.
The Mustang, I originally bought that car. My daughter was in high school, and I bought that and said, I will build this car for you to have when you graduate high school. And 4 years after she graduated high school, I think we started it. By then, she was a college graduate, and we got it running. It snowballed. You know, we took it up to Justin at Overkill, and I told myself I just want to put like a 10-point cage in it, but do the floor so we can always upgrade to a 25.3 in the future. He said, why don't we just do it now? Well, as soon as we did that, we got to set the car up for me to drive.
Right.
And it was just supposed to get a stock 6-liter. Well, the block that I bought was junk, so we're standing around, and Adam used to own Revolution's Performances. Why don't you just buy a brand new one? So I ordered a brand new dart block. So it's like, oh, do you put a stock crank and cheap rods in it? No. So and then it snowballed and snowballed and snowballed, but the car's still hers. It's registered in her name. She calls the shots on it. When I can't move very well, we will get the seat moved, and
Heck yeah.
I'll turn the car over to her completely. Or whenever she says, Jim, I want the car, then I'll roll at that point to the garage.
Yeah, so the Mustang's at Jim's house right now. That's where he's built it. He literally built the car out of a 2-car garage. It's attached to any normal house in the U.S. It's nothing fancy. Just Jim had some help with some people that do have some of the fancier tools, I guess you'd say, through some of it. But
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's bad when I can't weld. I can, but I'm not as good as a lot of these people out there. So I tack weld stuff together. Next day on the way to work, I drop it off, and a day or two later, pick it up, go back, and keep fabbing stuff. That was for like Turbo Kid stuff, but. Yeah, definitely a lot of. I mean, the list is long. I'm not going to try and name all the people or all the shops, but I tell you right now, the list is long, and I do appreciate everybody who even just came by to have a beer or whatever. It didn't matter, but I do appreciate everybody's help on that car because I couldn't have done it by myself.
there's always people hanging out with Jim drinking beer. Like, there's a few people here right now. Anytime he goes to the track, even if he doesn't have a car, people are rolling with him, talking cars, hanging out and helping. Anybody that's usually with Jim or Jim himself, if you're at the track and you're going to go do a burnout, don't be surprised if he pops in there and helps you get lined up in the burnout box. Or
I just like to help. Now that I learn something new every time I help somebody.
Absolutely. But he's always there. He just wants to play cars, and that's what we talk about all the time. Is we just want to play cars. I think one of our favorite times is I was racing at PPIR and my car was slow. But we were having fun, and we were figuring some stuff out, learning some things with the no prep, and that was at PPIR, and that was absolutely no prep. There's probably more rocks than asphalt on the starting line there, but it's a fun time, and Jim's like, hey, we should just jerk you still have the front sway bar on the car? I was like, yeah, I'll jerk that thing off, that won't help. And then I didn't even have coilovers or anything on the car. It was all stock, 150-some thousand mile suspension on the car, but we did that, and we ended up paying for the ambulance to stick around for a while longer, and Jim's like, we gotta grudge race someone, so we ended up grudge racing a Evo from up here in Springs and won $100, and that's just some fun stuff that we do, and it's always about that and just trying to have fun with cars. And that's the biggest reason I was like, I gotta get Jim on this when I start doing the whole garage talk or shop talk or whatever I want to call it. But love of cars and Jim is hand in hand on that point. He just wants to go play. So let's talk. You're on a pretty cool show last year with the Mustang right after you got it done, called Grudge Race. Willie puts it on. It's down in Pueblo, or no, that was in Denver.
We filmed in Denver.
That was filmed in Denver. So let's talk about that. How'd that all come about? Who'd you race? How did it go?
That came about after Thin Air Mayhem. We won the first Thin Air Mayhem. We won small tire.
He brought the car out the night before Thin Air testing. Didn't like what the car was doing, very unhappy, unloaded the car that morning on the street, figured some things out.
We made three hits on the street and headed to the track.
So that's what Jim's about. And when he goes somewhere, he's going to go compete. So that kind of rolls into the story of, I guess, Grudge racing.
But yeah, after we won, I got back to the car. We're all standing there having a beer. And Willie B runs over, hey man, you want to be on TV? And I was like, sure, be on TV. You're already amped up from the win. I was like, sure, I will be on TV. I was like, he said, all right, man. I said, let me text you later on in the week. So later on in the week, he calls me up, hey, bro, you ready to be on TV? And I was like, no, I'm not ready to be on TV. What do we got going on? And I didn't know anything about it. And then once the more it came around, then I was like, all right. So then every time we went to go test, It rained. We only had 4 runs. We had 4 runs on the car, and then Jim Heater and Keith came down to Pueblo, and I think we got a couple runs on it. But we always had like a tire shake problem. We could never get the car to 60 right. So we showed up at Vandermeer, definitely an underdog. We got lucky. We got really lucky. The other guy had problems. That car was fast because that dude clicked off a 490 like it was nothing. And
it was fast.
We were there with a 550 tune-up, and Dave Cho was there helping out, and I really appreciate all the help, Dave, because he took time off of work, and he was on the laptop, and Justin was there trying to help me with the chassis tune-up. We missed it by a mile, but we slowly were gonna get it by the end of the year, but we got lucky. I had a good time though.
That was cool. It worked out well. You won a welder.
I won. Yeah, won a welder. Won a driving suit. Well, I still got some heat wrap stuff, which we're definitely gonna have to use on this car. Gosh, what else we get? A practice tree. I can't remember.
Yeah, all sorts of little stuff.
Yeah, all kinds of cool stuff. $2,000 for stuff. Made my day happy.
So I'm going to shout out Danny Davis. I really appreciate it, buddy. He's got a really big page we're all on, Worldwide LS Owners. I've met him. He's a super cool dude. He's always there to help. So this car had an LS in it. It's going to have another LS in it, so we'll talk about some of that, LS tuning as well. And the Mustang. What's the setup in the Mustang? Or what was going to be?
It will be again. The Mustang has a Dart LS next block. Trick flow 255s, of course, Callie's crank, not of course, but it did have a Callie's crank in it, Oliver rods, good pistons, solid roller cam. Crowder, Lewis, if you're watching, hey man, thanks for a killer set of rocker arms. I love those things. Never had a lick of problems with them. We had problems with other powertrain stuff, but never a problem with those badass rocker arms. It will go back to that. The cylinder heads off the Mustang are going to end up on this car. The heads and intake are going on this car. The Mustang is either going to get a set of BTR 245s, because he has a pretty trick set of 245s that guys are running 760s quite easily with, street type cars. Or if I win the lotto this summer, badass set of CNC ported the Brodix BR7s. Those things flow like 430 or something on the intake side. Crazy. Yeah, they're huge.
So, and then Holly, what do you think about the Hollies? I put the Holly in my car. Jim helped me a little bit with it. Then he put it in the Vega, so he's had quite a bit of hands-on. You're doing some kind of cool things with the fueling too in the Mustang.
I love the Holly. I also gotta give a shout out to Jeremy Servion Tuning. I don't know if any guys remember him or not. He's been out of the tuning game for probably 3 years now.
You liked the page the other day.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Jeremy's a badass. Jeremy taught me everything I know about EFI. I didn't know squat, but he would let me hang out on the dyno and ask questions, and I met a lot of really cool people, PFC Hatch, Derek Rendon, a whole bunch of people just from Jeremy's tuning. And then when we started messing with the Holly, James had it first, and then I got it second, or after him. It's quite simplified for dumb people like me. My car has no dyno time on it. I had it on the dyno, and all I did was some load pulls, but I drove it there, so it wasn't like it needed that. We never got a chance to make power pulls. My only power pulls were on the street, and then we went to Thin Air Mayhem and won the deal. That's how well it works. I also run dual fuel, which I was told by some tuners I'm doing it wrong, but I run E85 on the lower injectors and methanol on the top injectors, and I don't run an intercooler. I actually have 17 injectors on the car right now. It works for me. A little bit of head gasket issues this year, but it wasn't because of the tune, because I changed a head gasket the last time, left the same tune in it, and never hurt it. We did have a load problem with the car. The car was geared wrong, but no, I love the Holly. I'll give a shout out to Holly. I don't know if they're watching. Hopefully someday they do. But yeah, they make a badass EFI, especially for an old guy like me that's used to a screwdriver. It works well, very well.
Yeah,
the self-learn works.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Then you're using the boost controller through the Holly. You're using everything.
Yep, using the boost controller. We will play around with wheel speed sensors later this year. And see how well we can get the car to work on asphalt. This car, the Mustang, sucked on asphalt. Really bad.
So either way, did you really street race the Mustang? You made a lot of test hits, but did you ever really get a street race anybody?
No.
I don't think so, huh?
No, we tried a couple test hits and
Jim just went to the track and won instead. Was the last time you ran it when we were in the final at Thin Air?
Yep, that was last pass.
So that was last pass on the car. And Jim, thinking he had some issues with it or whatever, still just throws it down the track and does what he can do to make it happen. He's a competitor through and through, no doubt about that. So doesn't want to lose ever. And really cool dude though. I've had people come up to me and, is that Jim Hall? Like, I'm like, yeah, that's Jim.
No,
like,
it's not.
Like, and it's, I think, I don't know, from you street racer and just being around here and doing so much, rubbing with so many cars, some people think you're on that pedestal, but he's super cool. You can come up to him and talk to him about his car, and he loves talking about cars, as you can see. So it's a really cool deal. So that's where AFR 255s is what's on it. Trick flows. Or, I don't know why I keep saying AFRs. So trick flows, and you're going to put that on a 370-ish
Yes.
deal. How well do you think that's going to work? Big
Heads
head.
are a little big. I think if we mess with the cam profile a little bit, I think we can make it work. I think.
Yeah.
Plus, it's got enough compression. It's got close to 11-1 compression, so that'll help.
Oh, wow. So you're still going to go dual fuel
Yes.
and all that. So, which you'll be able to almost plug the tune in from the other motor, and
Yes.
you'll have to play a little bit, but it'll come around fast then.
Yeah, we're doing both motors the same as far as ignition goes. They're both 58X crank with the 4X cam in the front, or the cam sensor, cam sync, whatever it is in front. So both the Mustang and the Vega will both have the same computer, same harnesses, and the motors will be very interchangeable to where I don't have to. You can just pull one out, put the other one in. Both will have remote oil filters feeding the turbos, just like it was before. Everything should be the same.
So you're just saying you have the crank pickup on the crank? You don't use the factory LS?
No, I use the factory one, but they make a 24X and a 58X.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm using the LS3 base 58X.
Okay. I had some issues with it. Jim has it. A few other people have when launching the car or whatever, and it coming out of sync. I actually lifted a ring land. I didn't know until later. I pulled the motor apart, but that's what it did. But if you're building the Turbo LS still, make sure you're running a very good GM quality or better, whatever you can get, crank sensor. Do not skip on the crank sensor on a Turbo LS engine.
And keep a spare. I keep my spare in the toolbox where it really should be in the glove box, but
I had to tow my car home one night because it went out.
yep, I got a spare.
So the Vega's first setup was similar, but you actually tuned it on HP tuners.
Yes, actually Jeremy tuned it on HP tuners. And then when the dyno session was over with, he handed me the laptop and says, "Here you go, you got this." And it was still learning. HP tuners is for it's kind of a hard program, in my opinion, hard program, especially speed density. Well, we didn't have an O2 sensor, and I had it didn't have a wideband, and apparently you could wire it through the EGR or something like that. I wasn't smart enough, so I zip tied or I velcroed a wideband next to the tack, and I put my GoPro behind me, and I'd run down the highway and I'd stop, I'd look at the GoPro, I'd put it on my computer, and then I'd look at the air fuel and make changes.
Try to map out where their fuel on the GoPro is at in the dialogue.
That was pretty dumb. But
at approximately 5,000 RPM, we were a little lean and try to make it work like that. Yeah, that's insane.
And I would that it has a nice logger. It logs nice. The scanner on HP tuners, it logs very nice. It logs
everything, for sure.
I like the logger. I really like the logger on the Holly because you can add and subtract, or you can put it over here. Like I use my drag race log, and then I have my fuel tune log, which shows fuel related.
Right.
And the drag race shows the drag race related. I like that. I really like the Holly. Like I said, the Holly's simplified for people like me.
Right. So, as far as I've remembered, other than way back when I first saw like the Vega and a little kid or whatever, it had a blower on it, but otherwise Jim's been into turbo Mustangs with Danny for a long time.
Yep. I think we built our first turbo Mustang together in 05,
06, and then you've been...
Actually, no, before that, we had that black one. We had that black one with the twins on it. Car went like a 920 up in Denver. on stock suspension way back in the day.
Way back. And then he had a blue one.
Yep. That motor ended up in the blue one. That car went 850s in Pueblo.
That's cool. So Jim's always been around the turbo game. What do you think about your old setup, the blower, running that stuff in the Vega?
Well, I'd love to do it again. If you've never driven a Roots blower car, especially something big, a big block Chevy with a 1471, ask someone just even give you a ride around the block in it, because you've never felt nothing like that ever. I would really now what I know about EFI, I would is that Royce with the Mustang who did Rocky Mountain Race Week this year?
Yep.
Okay, he's got that big blower. Every time I see that car, and I'm like, oh God, I really want one of those.
To try to
Phil was
still drive it.
because the cowl's still cut out on this car when I put the 14 on it, and I was telling Phil, yeah, I think we're gonna have to fix that. Now that you brought it up, man, maybe we should put a 14 on that old LS motor.
That'd be crazy. That'd be totally something different.
That'd be different.
That would be different for sure.
But no, the blower stuff was cool. Having the surge, the instant throttle response. I've never driven a Pro Charger car, so I've driven some street ones, but to have that great big Roots blower sitting there in front of you and the smell of the methanol when you whack the throttle, oh my God. It's nothing compares to that.
How fast was the Vega with the blower setup?
Fastest I went in Denver was a 819 at 171. Sherry, hey, watch the money. I guess she doesn't want me to keep spending money. I guess I have to work harder. 819 at 171 at Vandermeer. Matter of fact, that's when we used to bracket race, quick 16. Yes, I'm a bracket. No, yes, I used to bracket race. Am I a bracket racer? No, because I was terrible at it. But I did make it to the final one time. I lost to Tom Johans back when he had the Chevelle. That was a good time. That had to be 03. That was back when quick 16 you really had to fight for it to get in. And then we went out to Kansas, Great Bend, Kansas, and the car went at 815 on a soft tune-up, and then the next pass it broke the rear end. It didn't break the internals of the rear end. The wheelie bar brackets broke off the rear end, so we were done for the day. But no, the blower was so much fun. Oh my gosh, I missed that.
Did you wreck the Vega with the blower setup in it?
Yes. Yep, that was down in Albuquerque.
Not something you want to talk about.
Sherry's listening, and Sherry's gonna post because she yelled at me after I got out of the car. I think Chad Onstead was the first one at the car. How they got the passenger door open, because it was laying on its driver's side, is beyond me. Someone had to climb up the bottom of the car and open it. But this door never does open right, it always sticks. But someone's looking in the windshield, and someone finally got the door open. But the biggest problem is we rolled the sprag on the converter. And it happens with a blower car. I think a lot of it has to do with the burnout. And we rolled the sprag, so the car was a turd. So I did probably the dumbest thing I ever did. I put 42 degrees of timing in it. We used to run 38 in it, so 42 wasn't going to hurt it. And then I put another 10% in the blower. So as soon as the car launched, it started to porpoise really bad because it wouldn't get up on the converter. And then it started to spin, and it went back and forth a couple times. I was like, I got it. And Albuquerque's just like Pueblo. Instead of having grass, there's dirt, kind of dust up against the wall. And I got into that, and the car came around. I almost had it under control when it went over. But yeah, it was pretty annoying. I was pretty mad. I'm still mad. But yeah, and then I had to get yelled at by Sherry. She was like, I told you twice. You lift after twice. And I was like, yep. But yeah, it just, once it got in the marbles, it came around. I couldn't stop it.
Unless you're no prep racing.
Yeah,
Then you just pedal it the whole time.
Oh, I had my foot jammed in the brake. I had my foot jammed in the gas. I was like, come on, we can do this. And no, it just wouldn't come around. It wouldn't come back.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the wall in the other lane. I was in the left lane, and it was looking pretty bad.
So that was Albuquerque, and then you've been back to Albuquerque when it had a turbo LS in it, right?
Yep, we went down to All Out Call Out. If you guys ever get a chance to go down to All Out Call Out, I think Derek Brennan wanted to go, and I think a couple other people wanted to go. It's a badass time. It's cool. It's really cool.
They have kind of your shootout class. Is that what you ran?
They're all shootouts.
Well, the run road you brung, I guess the no index class.
Right. That was the class I was in. And you have to drive it to the track, and you have to race the car the way you drove it to the track. You can't get to the track, change tires, fuel. I'm trying to think how long. It was like 15 miles to the track, but it was 90-some degrees, so the car got pretty hot.
Yeah.
And a $100 trans brake solenoid ended our day. Because with the Pro Brake, you got to hit the button to back up, and I staged on the foot brake, and as soon as I went in, I grabbed the trans brake, car took off.
So that's kind of a cool little subject we can talk about is tuning in. What's your take? I use a bump box in my car. It works as long as the tranny has fluid and everything. It doesn't want to go too far. Jim uses more of like a 3-step, right?
I use a 3-step. I use a rev limiter on the foot brake. So I like the top bulb, pump the brake, bring it up to the rev limiter, let it start popping because it's build a boost, same as you would with a bump box. And then you just slowly ease your foot up and it'll start to glide forward. It'll kind of roll forward, then just use the trans brake to stop.
Use trans brake.
And the bump box, again, has anyone seen that video of the bump box?
Oh, that's so funny.
Where that guy's in that zero-turn mower going through the shop. That's why I'm afraid of a bump box.
Yeah, it looks, it does, I don't know, it feels, I don't know if it's that violent. It seems to be at times, but I guess that's however you set up your car. But I kind of like the idea of the 3-step too, especially for like street racing and different things like that. Then you can ease into it instead of once you're up on the chip and you bump, you're committed, you're at it, on it. So it is what it is. So what else we want to talk about, Jim? You got the Vegas. It's coming back. What's your, I guess, your goals for the Vega? What we've been doing no prep for the last 2 years. Is that what you're shooting for? Is all the no prep stuff for the Vega, or you want to do something else with it?
Sherry really wants to go to Rocky Mountain Race Week. So we have our sights set on Rocky Mountain Race Week this year. And it's hard to see because James is in front of the fender. James doesn't necessarily have to move, but I started doing body work on the car. So some people do know, some people don't. We are changing the color of the car. I'm not going to tell you what it's going to be. A couple people do know. We've looked at different colors, but the car is getting a change. That paint's been on there since '01. It's time for a change. It will probably still be kind of an old school theme.
Cool.
It won't have this, I still think they're cool graphics, but some people are like, well, it's just a little dated, isn't it? Well, it's my car and I still like it. But no, we're going to do something a little bit different. Well, we have to. The car needs paint, and I'm changing the doors to roll up windows. But right now, our Rocky Mountain Race Week is what we are set on. It's in June. I think it's second week of June.
16th.
We're going to be pushing it.
I got a car on the lip that I'm trying to make the same date.
You're in worse shape than I am. I at least have a rolling chassis that just needs certified.
Mine a roll.
Here's a roll.
I'm not trying to go fast though either. If it just drives, I'd be happy. So
I want to run, I believe it's called Ultimate Radial. The car's only legal at 850. I don't even think it'll go 850 with that stock motor in it, but
it's gonna go 850.
If we're lucky, it might go 9.0. Maybe some no prep.
On the street, it's like a 1020 car or something. So
yeah. I did see. I don't know if anyone else has seen it. I know Willie B has talked about it briefly on his garage show on Saturday. No, Tracy, I'm not bringing back the Gold Center Yankees, but watching, I may put some Gold Center Welt Magnums on there just because they're cool. That would be cool. Yeah. A little old school. Now I better get on eBay and start looking. I guess PPIR is doing some big muscle car deal, I think in May. That might be a little too soon for us. And they were talking about doing some 8-mile drags. Now, I don't know if anyone remembers that. It wasn't quite a rockabilly show. It was kind of a street rock show they did. But they had the band. They had a bandstand over the starting line, and they were drag racing underneath it. I want to do that. So those are 2 events I really like to make. CSO, I guess I'm going to have to strap some 28s on there. Gosh, this car's going to look funny with a roller skate tire. It doesn't look like a skateboard wheel.
Yeah. So we talked about PPIR. Some of the guys, if Danny shared it, some of those guys, Operation Octane, where you guys are racing on the frontage road, that's a much nicer surface, much longer surface. PPIR is a little short, but
it's short.
It's real short. When everybody's there and everybody's running, maybe a mid-high 5-second car, then it was, you get slowed down, but now everybody's quite a bit faster than that, I guess. But so it's a little sketchy going into the corner. You actually raced Doug there, and he spun the Mustang out.
Spun out.
It's pretty crazy little GoPro video from Jim's car, and
yeah, you guys can YouTube it. I think it says BMF wagon PPIR or something like that. Aaron Wells, look at Aaron Wells' YouTube channel. I don't know what his YouTube name is.
Aaron, if you're on here, go ahead and throw it in there, buddy.
But everyone knows Aaron with the silver Subaru STI. Matter of fact, I think he just shipped some motor parts off. Look for that car to
it looks like he's stuck it.
Look for that car to
program
go
up
pretty fast this year. I'm
Heck yeah.
excited to see it.
So you said something there, BMF wagon. So the first time I even kind of knew who Jim was, forum days before Facebook and all that, on Colorado Racers Network, CRN?
CRN.
And Jim was always on there. So what's the BMF?
Actually, Danny did there's BFJ and there's BMF. Matter of fact, Chad Stutzman just joined. Chad Stutzman used to race a midget sprint. Is that the 3.5 horsepower? The quarter midget?
Oh, quarter midgets. Yeah.
Quarter midgets down at PPIR. And him and his dad came over to my shop, and I was dirty, so he called me Blackface Jim. And that's where BFJ came from. And not many people use it anymore, but some people do. But yeah, Chad Stutzman, God, he's just a little easy at the time. Call me BFJ. And then Danny called it the BMF wagon when I think it was cash days.
Okay.
Cash days.
So
we're allowed to talk about cash days.
Allegedly, there was a race that happened on a street somewhere, and that little car back there won it. I think that was kind of
Colorado cash days, not a real cash day. Well, it's real. It's real as it's gonna. I mean,
for what we have
it's real as everything else.
Yep.
But it was Colorado cash days, and it was a little bit smaller.
1320 has the video if you guys want to watch it.
Yeah, it's called
Colorado Cash Days.
Colorado Mini Cash Days, something like that.
Mini
Cash
Days.
A lot of fun.
So was that a Hail Mary deal too? Like the car wasn't quite ready right before that, or
we put it. Okay, we went and tested. That was the first time I decided to go non-intercooled.
Okay.
That's kind of like saying say no to drugs. Definitely keep your intercooler. So anyway, we went down to Pueblo to test, and 3 seconds into the run, we were pegging the air temp sensor 256 degrees. I was like, wow, that's hot. And after a couple runs, the car was sitting crooked. I was like, huh, that's kind of weird. I looked down, it broke the front shock mount. So a couple days, or I didn't find the broken shock mount till later in the week. So we hauled it down to Revolution's Performance, and me, Chris, Cole, and the guys, and Leroy and everyone else, we welded the mounts up, and then the next day, Chris says, let's put on dyno, make a couple pulls. And I put a 2 nozzles worth of meth injection just in the pipe. And the first pull, as soon as it built boost, it cracked all the welds. It wasn't the welder's fault. Me being a metal polisher, belt sanded all the welds smooth so it looked like one piece pipe. Well, methanol started shooting out of it. So Danny's over there clamping stuff on there. We tried making pulls, and it kept messing up. But then it was spitting rubber all the way out the building as soon as it would come into boost. So I said, all right, fine, let's go test on the street. So we went to run down to Mexico. I just saw Derek say it was in Mexico. But we went to run down to Mexico, and there's some pictures posted somewhere on the internet of myself and Paul Miller out of Cheyenne cruising down Powers in a rainstorm. So we sat there for 2-3 hours waiting for the rain to clear. The rain never stopped. So we loaded the cars and went to the Cash Days meeting spot, and that was a Hail Mary. I got lucky on that one because the car I drew around one was broke, so the guy ran his pickup truck. So I had kind of a duck. No, I had a really big duck. I had a pocket duck. But we learned, made some changes to it, and car kept going faster every round. So
it was pulling the wheel towards the end, right? Just a little bit.
I didn't.
I'm pretty sure it was. So the car's been everywhere. I guess where else have you raced it? Mostly Colorado, a little bit of Albuquerque.
Mostly Colorado. I've been to. Anyone remember Douglas, Wyoming? That was a pretty neat racetrack. It had a buggy trail for a return road. I hate the return road. Been to Douglas a couple times with both the nitrous motor and the blower motor. Jared Valdez. Guess you're a little late to the party. Let me see. Pueblo, Vandermeer. Douglas, Albuquerque. There was a racetrack in Texas we went to. I went with all the blower cars.
Amarillo or?
No, it was in the middle of like a cotton field. They said it was, at one time, it was supposed to be an emergency secondary landing strip for the space shuttle or something. But we raced there, you raced and returned all on the same slab. And it was just divided with concrete barriers. But I guess the year after that was down Levelland. Anyone know of Levelland, Texas? Oh, it was a dry county.
Silver, black, and red colors.
It was silver, black, and gold, Derek. If you go on my Facebook page, you can see it. But yeah, no, was it red? No, there was no red on it, Derek. Derek, you should bring back that Camaro you had. What was that, 78 Z28, small block 4-speed car? I know you're listening right now going, God, I never should have sold that. So PMP, your favorite is PMP, right? I've had a lot of fun at PMP for many, many, many years, except for previous management. We didn't have just a big disagreement, but we had quite a bit of disagreement, and I said I'll just never come back. But I mean, you don't close the staging lanes at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. Or 9:30. That was dumb. That woman shot herself in the foot.
Sherry liked the purple.
Sherry liked the purple. Sherry actually picked the next color for the car, so.
So she got to make the call on that one?
Yep, she got to make the call.
So we'll get a little bit more into what Jim does for a living. He's a polisher. He doesn't usually look like this when he's working.
No, I usually look like the Tin Man on Wizard of Oz.
That's the truth. So let's talk. How'd you get into polishing? What do you like? What do you dislike? Everything you own is polished, so you must like it enough to polish all your own stuff. So,
yeah, another story. Growing up in a car deal, got off the school bus when I was 14 years old, and my dad had a polished Turbo 350 sitting on the cart outside the garage door. And I was like, wow, that's the coolest thing in the world. And I said, but how come they didn't detail all the little corners? Because all the corners weren't detailed. Yeah. And he says, well, why don't you grab a die grinder and learn how to use it, son? So I spent months playing around with die grinder and a bunch of other stuff, and learned how I was hooked. I was like, holy cow, this is cool. Man, I use polish everything. But no, J&S polishing, that's something me and Sherry started back in the 90s. The main thing we do now, and I don't have anything here in the shop except for what's wrapped, stainless trim restoration, muscle cars, classics, lowriders, stuff like that. Stainless trim restoration, stuff that goes around your windows, stuff that goes down the side of the car, especially you can open up a catalog and buy it. Stuff doesn't fit. Stuff's actually the wrong color. But if you're restoring something to go to, if you're restoring something for like a Bear Jackson, a Mika type car, or just something you have, not saying you don't have pride in your car for buying aftermarket, but if you want an all original car, we restore that. We fix the dents. If you go to my J&S polishing page on Facebook, I have a lot of before and after pictures of dent repair, wheels, intake manifolds, valve covers, brass. We do some candlesticks and some other work for the church, a couple different churches. Brass. Right before Christmas, I did a copper pot holder that goes in the center of the kitchen where you hang copper pots. We did one of those day before Christmas Eve for a gentleman who gave it to his wife for their remodel. Cool. What else have I done? Gosh, all kinds
wheels.
Wheels.
Lots of wheels.
Lots of wheels. Many wheels.
I'm sure I keep saying it, but he won't ever reply to me whenever I tell Jim I need probably a polished high ram for my new car. I know that's not his favorite thing to polish, but somehow, some way, I'm going to twist his arm and get that done. So, dude's transmission is polished. Is the one in the Mustang polished?
No, that's a ATI Super case.
Oh, okay.
But if you do look at this one, it is polished. This is the old case from the original car way back when it was purple with a big block in it. This is now a mock-up case. I won't, now with the turbo stuff, especially with the turbo hit so hard, I won't use stock case anymore. It just, I like my legs. After that deal down in Pueblo, it blew the side of the transmission out. Yeah. Luckily, I had a case on it. It could have been worse than it was, or I had a shield on it. But yeah, now super cases with the steel liner is the only way to go. I move without, I can't work sitting down, so, and I can't drive without a right leg, so again, it's $800, I believe, for a super case, money well spent.
So what other things as far as, what's your worst thing to polish? What's something you don't want to polish? What's
Intake manifold.
That's awesome. That's
holy cow.
something difficult, something somebody's brought you and you didn't know if you could even polish it, but you got it done and came out cool.
Did you see what Sherry said? No, James.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. I enjoy my job.
Right.
I like what I do. It is a job. It is very, very, very hard work. And I usually tell people, if you can't hold on to it for 30 minutes, I can't polish it. Because the machines are big. You're talking 16-inch buffing wheels, 10 horsepower machine. You know, you're sitting there holding it up against the buffing wheel, and it's trying to rip itself out of your hands. But intakes are kind of time consuming, because every time I do one, I always try something different. So I'm looking for a better way, an easier way, something to make it cooler than the last one.
Right.
But I'll still do them.
So if somebody's at home trying to polish their wheels, you got any advice or anything to clean it up or not do to your wheels to ruin them so then they can be repolished?
Stay away from store-bought wheel cleaners. Gotta remember, it used to be on years ago. It used to come on, remember Channel 55, Speed Vision? Anyone remember Speed Vision? They used to have all those automotive shows on Sunday morning. We used to sit there. James probably too young.
Now we're doing Facebook videos. We don't watch the TV anymore. So.
But anyway, there used to be these two hillbillies sitting there in their front yard with this wheel spray that they sprayed on their wheels and watching the dirt come off. You ought to see what it does to aluminum. It etches the aluminum. It's like spraying acid on it. I mean, it's like soaking your hands in solvent, bring them out, it turns chalky white. You know, it ruins aluminum. But if you're trying to do something yourself, believe it or not, there's some really good YouTube videos out there from a lot of do-it-yourselfers. I even learned a few things from the YouTube videos. I was like, wow, I never even thought of that.
Tracy said fixing someone else's polish job. He's
I
having to do that.
don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but we have.
Well, that's part of it, right? But Jim does excellent work. So if you're in the neighborhood,
Gary, I wish I had forearms like Papa.
have something cool you need polished or whatever, just hit him up on JNS Polishing on his website. I'll do this again at the end. The Pope is a page for the Mustang we're talking about, and the Vega will have a new page here soon. And just go on there, support him. He does have shirts for sale. We're going to give one away here in a little bit to somebody. Actually, Jim, if you want to tell them what type of story you're wanting to hear.
Yes, I would polish 8 semi-wheels, Jared. Go ahead and just, you can go to JNS Polishing Facebook page. Go ahead and call the number. That is a landline. Leave a message, because it's hard for me to get to the phone all the time. Myself or Sherry will give you a call back. All right, here's something funny. All right, let me see. I know Tracy's on there. Rob DeMasters, yep, 409 covers. Didn't I do your 409? I think I already did your 409 covers. A lot of people on there. Derek Lane, hey, thanks. I'm glad you like the Mustang. Most people hate it because it's got a Chevy motor in it. That's your mom, right?
Yeah,
She wants a shirt?
I've had a bunch of people ask me about the Build Tune Race shirts. My buddy Andy threw these together for me real quick because I headed to PRI and I didn't want to walk around with some other brand on my shirt, so I figured I might as well do it for the page that I was getting going. So appreciate that, Andy. And for anybody else, if you want, send me some messages. I've already had people doing it, and eventually I will get some shirts made. It's just I'm not sure if I want them like this or if I want to do something a little bit cooler or different or fancier. I don't know. So whatever you guys think, let me know. Send me something. But Jim wants to hear some cool stories, and maybe he'll pick one out and we'll send this person a shirt. So
Milkman, hey, what's up? Scuba, hey, what's up? Chris Phillip, yes sir, built Ford Tough with Chevy stuff. Hey, any of you guys anybody here remember Super Shops? Some of you, I know Tracy remembers, he's come in all the time, think bought center lines from me and a bunch of other stuff. Okay, I was assistant manager there, used to work every Sunday, and I was telling James and Tiny and a few others about this earlier today. Guys that come in and lean on the counter and just tell stories. And this one sticks in my head forever. This kid's telling me and I drove Vega at the time, but like I said, it was a low 12-second car. I mean, that's all the fastest we ran it. This kid's telling me, he says his uncle's car is so fast, he has to get permission from the police chief or the police department to drive his car because they can't catch him if you ever decide to run from him. This is the same kid told me the car had so much horsepower that when it sits at a traffic light, it just sits there and smokes tires at idle. So anybody who has a story that cool or can beat it, I'll give you a free shirt. I'll even ship it. So if you're out of state, I'll ship it. So somebody's got to have something. Tracy, you're a Mopar guy. You got to know something. Rob DeMasters, you've been around a while. Somebody's got to have something better. No, it got all quiet.
No, so we'll let those guys work on that. So let's talk the alleged street stories of some of the people you've raced, some of your... One sitting here, I saw a video Tiny reposted there, 2 days ago, yesterday or whatever, of you guys racing on the street with the Vega. By far, probably the favorite thing to do, right? Sunday fun days and going out and playing and just being out on the street. And I came up one time doing some other stuff and stopped by. Jim's over here testing, so we stopped by, and this car is sitting on the side of the road just chilling, and pull out the laptop, check some things, make a test hit, adjust, make a test hit. And Jim loves testing. He loves street racing, loves being out on the street. I think you'd do it all the time if you could.
I wish we lived like in Arizona.
Right.
Oh yeah, hey, shout out to Matt Frost. Hey buddy, looks like you drove all night and then went straight to the track and tested. Get some sleep, bro. That car's got way too much horsepower to be. But in that video you posted looked good. Good luck this weekend.
Absolutely.
Man, go rounds, win that thing, do whatever it takes. Man, the car looks really, really, really good.
So who have you raced? What are some of your favorite races?
Oh, favorite races.
Or some, just like Steve's on here. I know in Colorado it's not 43 Fox body Mustangs, even though we have 43 Fox body Mustangs always racing. It seems like all the cars on the street are all really different. DSMs, GTRs, a Vega with a twin turbo LS, different things like that. So you've raced a lot of different cars on the street. Jim's always up for a street race or whatever. So what's some people you've raced?
Wow, Scott, now that's a no shit. Okay, James, I can't remember everybody I raced.
No.
Tracy posted up, talk about the old Ampex days.
Yeah.
Ampex is now, it's Geiger. The road's shit. I remember when they chip sealed it on us back when we were street racing. And we were all sad. We used to go out to, some guys might remember Mark Shuffle and Constitution. You can't race out there now. Did you read that?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You're going to read that one out loud here in a second.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard to top, Scott. Ampex was a blast. I mean, we used to cruise Nevada until about 11:30 at night, and then cruise out to Ampex and sit there and wait. Interesting story. Matt was talking about, nitrous. Was it a week ago, the other night? Okay, I wasn't there, David McKinley, but yeah, I do remember when that happened. But anyway, we used to call it the Street Fighter kit, and I actually did it on this car. It used to have a 5.0 Mustang, the carbureted air cleaner that was plugged into the cowl. Someone did that before I bought it. So you put a nitrous plate on it, cover it with the GM heat shield, use the unplug the horn, wire it to the solenoids, and then put the bottle on the passenger floorboard so you can just reach down and turn it on, and then you use the horn to... So no one knows it, but yeah, we used to call that a Street Fighter kit. And then you just cut the fuel line and put a T in there. You're still off the old mechanical pump. I mean, we didn't have a lot of money, and the cars were only 12-second cars, but yeah, that was going back to that. But that was back in the Ampex days. Ampex days was pretty cool because you could just roll up, line the road, and somebody would call someone out. Usually it was $20. $40 was a big dollar race. $40 was a big dollar race. $20 was about average gas money. And then what are some of the better ones? I went, oh, this is a good one. I wish Joe Barry was on Facebook. We went to Denver. I'm not sure where. And if Joe was here, we went to, it was by some cemetery. Anyway, I was driving some Army guy's Mustang, 5.0 Mustang with a bottle on it. And we're lined up, getting ready to race. The cop show up. I was like, God, I didn't have a driver's license. So I let the clutch out. Well, the cop chases me. So I stopped. I was like, all right, that's better than evading. And the cop's like, stay here, you're not going nowhere. So he hopped in his car, went back to go bust everyone else. I, boom, let the clutch out again. I hauled ass into Denver. The guy who owned the car is still there somewhere.
Oh, really?
We didn't have cell phones, didn't have pagers. Yeah, this was 1990. I worked at Super Shops, and I had to find that dude. And then get back. I think we got back to, it was almost sunup by the time we got back to Springs. I can't, it was so long ago, I can't remember. That was an interesting one. I was like, wow. And then some of my favorite ones, gosh, I can't remember some of the favorite ones. There was so many. It was a lot of fun. Most of you guys, I don't know how many people are familiar. Garden of the Gods. What's that road that comes? Is that 31st that comes off the Garden? Yeah, we used to come off 31st, make that curve, and everyone lined the road right there, and we raced towards the interstate. None of those buildings, or there was a couple buildings, but none of the houses and stuff was up there. Garden of the Gods was just an awesome place to race. Seemed like every time I went up there, I lost, but Ampex was good. People remember Spacecom. Remember Spacecom? Drennan and Mark Shuffle. There was no houses out there, but it was well lit. You could race down one pair of road and then turn around and come back on the other pair of roads. That was pretty good. But I can't remember some of the good ones.
Well, he's thinking, guys, I appreciate it. I just shared it to After Dark because I'll talk about that or that one page or whatever that thing is. But if you guys would share it again for us and help spread the word about what we're doing. If you guys like it, I really appreciate the support and everybody hanging in there and watching us. And I plan on doing more of these as we're going. Jim's been cool. I've already talked to quite a few other people. I got a lot of people on board from here to Kansas to Wyoming and all of that. It's a really cool deal what I think I'm building here and kind of putting together, and it's pretty neat. Jim, as soon as he saw the page and what I was doing, he was all about it and wanted to be any part of it that he could and help me out and supportive of talking and some good words. So I appreciate that, and that's why I wanted to make sure we got up and did this one. Anywhere I'm at and videoing, most likely Jim will be there and doing some of that stuff the same. So I really appreciate it. So if you guys would please click the little share button, share it out to everybody. I know that's my little plug, but the more I can grow this, the more people I get to follow it, the more I can to get some people on here and help me out and just support the whole deal. And it's really fun doing this. So no, we're not close to done. We still got plenty to talk about, I'm sure. So so you're talking cops and pulling up. So advice, stories about being out street racing and cops showing up. What do you do? What do you?
Right, this is my best advice to anybody. Number one, never admit guilt. Cop asks you, what are you doing out here? Nothing. Car broke down. Well, what are all these black marks? I don't know. Some kids are doing burnouts when they left. Never run. That was the dumbest thing I ever did. I was 24 years old when I did that. Never run, but luckily I was running on the road I was about to race on, so we knew it was already a blocked road. And almost all the racing I've ever done in Colorado has always been controlled environment. No, we don't race a traffic light off of Highway 24 and Powers and nothing like that. We always race where there was spotters.
Cash Day 17.
Yeah, Cash Day 2017. Yeah, never admit guilt. The cops know what you're doing, especially you're out there. We're out there with laptops on the car. We're out there with
It's a car show at 3 a.m.
You're out there with pimp juicers, black marks. I mean, there's wet spots on the road from doing burnouts. It's a little obvious.
They know what you're doing.
Just tell the cop. Don't tell us I'm on street racing. Yeah. No, I got a ticket for that because we got pulled over street racing. This is back in the 80s. And the guy I was racing got scared because the cop's like, what are you doing? I was racing. No, you weren't racing. We were driving down the road together. Don't admit guilt. We ended up with a deferred sentence on that deal. It took us a year going to court. Luckily, thank God I was in the military, so it was a little lenient. But Yeah, just stop your car, get out, hand him your ID. Don't argue with the cop. When the cop wants your ID, give him your ID. You already broke the law. And now, as far as I know, I don't think there's any. I'm not a lawyer by any means, but yeah, Derek Rendon was ready to gaze shit out some stars. Me too. No, I'm dying. Hey, Derek, is there a chance maybe we can line up in 2018? Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Go easy on me.
Well, truck gets down.
That truck gets down really good. Yeah, just be cool, give the cop your ID and smile. Be honest. I mean, just don't admit guilt.
So don't be completely honest.
Yeah, don't admit guilt. Because all you do is, I mean, as soon as you admit guilt, I mean, you go to, if you do end up, if the cop is a dick. Me, I'm older. Another interesting story. Me and Phil took the Mustang. This was after Thin Air Mayhem 2.0. We did that big garage meet downtown Colorado Springs where they have just parking garage just full of cars. A lot of cool cars, bikes, people. It was a good time. So we're leaving, head back to the house, and we was up on Austin Bluffs, and we were at where the first row of cars had traffic lights, and it was late, pushing midnight, and I was like, wow, there's no traffic, and I normally never do this on the street. Light turned green, I rolled forward a little bit, and I just let the car have it. First gear, second gear. I have a GPS in it, but it takes a minute for GPS to catch up. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, this isn't good. And I was already all over the brakes. And the GPS, we were slowing down and the GPS caught up at like 83, 86 miles an hour. And we got pulled over. It took from UCCS all the way down to Union before the cop caught us. I was already on the off ramp. And he walks up and he says, wow, man, this sure is a cool car. And I was like, wow, we're about to go to jail. And he was real cool about it. He says, be honest with you, he says, I'm not going to write you a ticket as long as everything comes back clean. And what he was worried about was the fact that the license plates were on 30-day grace. And that was it.
Get lucky.
And then another time, we rolled out to Mexico. And there was two cops sitting where the starting line is. And you can't turn around, especially with the spool in it. Oh, yes, Mary, we can't take to the track, but sometimes you're not open at Wednesday at 7 o'clock at night on a test, or Thursday. But we do our best to come down to test because you do treat us very well. So yes, Mary, we will spend a little more time down there. But anyway, me and Phil rolled down to Mexico, and I drive past these two police officers, and bam, dude throws his lights on. I was like, wow, that was quick. And he walks up. For one, he was shocked when he looked at me because I got white hair. Believe it or not, 28 years old. I can't believe how white that shit is already. And he looks at me and was taken back. He was a young guy. He had to be about 25. He was like, oh, I said, yep, but you didn't expect me this young, did you? But anyway, he says, you know why I pulled you over? And I was like, numerous things? And he says, where's your front license plate? And I said, I don't have one. He said, where's your front license plate? I said, to be honest with you, I'm not going to drill a hole in a $1,000 bumper. Period. I said, I'm not going to do it. He's okay, and he wrote me a ticket. But at least I was honest.
Yeah.
And when he was done, he wrote me a ticket. He said, I'll give you credit. He said, you got the coolest car to come down here tonight because they were pulling over everybody. It's illegal. Don't complain. It's illegal. You're not breaking the law by driving down the road, but the cops know why you're there. And I asked him politely, I said, which way are you going so I know to go the other way? And he told me which way he was going. Fired up a car, drove the other way, and yep, went home, put it in the garage. Not that it was, because we didn't want another ticket. It was cold out, but. And there was nothing else going on. If you can't go to Mexico, what are you going to do at midnight?
So I see Trent just joined.
Trent Diaz, how you doing, buddy? I see he's putting a couple new hair dryers on that Nova.
So maybe a little Nova on Vega.
Oh, God, no, that dude's going to whoop my ass. Ryan Colburn, I got a ticket that night, too. Yeah, luckily I had my windows down, Ryan. They probably got me on illegal window tint, too. Yeah, Trent's car's fast. He won small tire, Thin Air Mayhem 2.0.
Yep. So Trent, yourself, I've seen a couple other people struggle through the solid roller setup or whatever on LS stuff. And something we just kind of learned, or I just learned about, Jim was talking about too, is the low lash
solid roller. Low makes it.
So it's a super tight tolerance that you start out with, and supposedly that's kind of the way to go. So if there's anybody out there also doing kind of that type of thing and they're making it work, send me a message. Let me know kind of what you're doing on those setups. I'm curious just to kind of learn some more about those setups and who's making it work and what's lasting without hurting valve train or having issues like that. So all the LS speed secrets, I guess, send me some of those. I'm curious.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you touched on that. Somebody was talking shit about my car earlier this year, that every time I take it out it blows up. I don't think you guys realize I drive my car a lot. I drive it to work.
Lunch.
Me and Cherry take it to dinner. We go to the grocery store. We drive it a lot. I built it to drive. It is not a trailer queen. The only reason why I trailer to the track is because I can fit 4 people in my truck and only 1 other person in my car. So, and it's so much easier. And it breaks every time it goes to track. But no, we struggled this year. We struggled with parts failure. We started the year with some broken valve springs. Why they broke, we still don't know, because the new set I put on never broke, and they're the exact same part number. They were bad batch of springs, don't know. After that, we struggled with some head gasket problems. Well, a year ago, transmission problems. But I suppose when you're making that kind of power, you know, stock cases aren't going to live. And I learned a lot about pressures in the transmission. So once we figured that out, boom, transmissions live. This year, yeah, we started with valve springs, and we got into head gaskets. Then we broke driving it to work. Like I said, I drive my car, broke a lifter. Why, we're still not sure, because all the other ones are perfect. I sent them all back, came back clean bill of health, just replaced the one, but it took out the camshaft. So it's like, okay. I started looking more at the car and noticed that 4 pistons on the right bank hit cylinder. Well, there's only 4 on the right bank, but 4 of the 8 pistons hit the cylinder head. Why, we don't know. Is it collapsed skirt? I really don't think an Oliver rod grows, but I could be wrong. No way it could grow 52 thousandths of an inch.
Right.
So until we get that problem fixed, the Mustang's going to sit. And we will get it figured out. And camshaft technology, I think what it is, the cam that was in it, yes, it is a solid roller. Yes, it was pretty radical. I think it was just hard on valve train parts. Maybe they didn't quite understand when I said this is a driver car. Maybe he thought, you know, driving from the pits.
You're not going to tow it? Yeah.
You know. So we have problems, and yes, James, I'm glad you touched on that. I am going to go with a cam motion low lash solid in this car, and I hope we can start and finish Rocky Mountain Race Week without a hiccup, because I'm taking Sherry with me, and she can hand me a tool, but I don't think she can do much else.
Nobody wants to be on the side of the road working on it. So that's what we really enjoy, the no prep, all that stuff. But we've all kind of been talking about it amongst some people here in Colorado. And Matt does a really cool thing with Race Week / Drag Week. That's what you kind of built the Mustang for. But the Vega will be different to take it on that type of a deal. And the car's been through everything but something like that, I guess. So you're changing. What else are you changing on it? You've lowered it. You're changing all the things that you don't like on it. So what else?
The car always had a bump steer problem for as long as I can remember. Me and Phil spent like 2 weeks messing with the front suspension, rack mount, shock mounts, whatever. Got the bump steer figured out. Cooling issues, car always ran hot. I mean, to me, 200 degrees is a little too hot, especially since now I want to pull a trailer. So I really need to, hey Justin, hey Amber. Hi Amber, I haven't seen you guys in forever. Gosh, when you and Steve probably do like, never talk to me again because I can't even hang out with you guys none. But now that we're going to try and tow a trailer and stuff, I'd like to keep the temperature down around 180. The Mustang did, so we can with this. So
yeah, absolutely.
We changed that. New radiator mounts, obviously new paint, same hood, modified turbo kit.
What are you changing?
Turbo kit?
Yeah.
I can't. No, I'm just kidding. We had to raise the turbos up because when it come down from the wheel stand, the tires are hitting turbos. So changing that, new charge pipes. Believe it or not, and I don't know how this is true, maybe some of you turbo guys can help me out here. Bullhorns. What's everyone's take on bullhorns? Love them, hate them. I've hated them ever since the day I saw them. I thought it was the goofiest thing in the world. Now it's so common, but I've ridden in Carrie's car with bullhorns. I've ridden in Tiny's car with just a bumper exit, and you can have a conversation driving down the road.
My hood exit, you just get a little bit of ethanol fumes in the.
This thing, as soon as you hit highway speed, conversation ends. And that was with exhaust. We tried it dumped before the rear wheel. I tried dumping it at the axle. I tried all kinds of stuff. It was so loud. The drone, I guess it was. So I'm gonna try bullhorns. If it doesn't work, then I'll just.
So what I've gathered, the bullhorn look for most of the cars that have had it, but really it's for probably 2,000 plus horsepower radio cars trying to keep the downforce down. So I don't know. As far as sound though, I think I kind of debated on that on the RX2 is whether or not to come out the front just to make it easy, because I'm thinking about putting the radio in the back. So go out the front, put little bullhorns on it. Other than fumes, you're right. It's not super loud or anything.
I am worried about fumes.
You're driving at 1,500 miles in 5 days. You don't want a week-long headache.
Pass out. Well, I can always do like Larry Larson did and Stuart Wood bumper exit. Well, I can't. Turbos are behind the front wheels, so I'm gonna have to definitely go
like right here.
Yeah, turbos are right there. Yeah, right by that Z-spot. So I'm definitely gonna have to go with a bullhorn. I mean, I don't have to. I can put it underneath, but and I'm not real worried about the weight.
So if somebody's wanting to build a turbo LS car, what do you think? Like, is that you love it? You really like the LS stuff? The stock bottom in? What's your take? Like, you've ran a stock crank. You've pushed the stock crank pretty far.
Still putting a stock crank back in.
And this one will have a stock crank in it. So.
I don't know if they break. I think you have main cap or block issues.
Before a crank issue?
Before you have a crank issue, to be honest with you.
So ultimate budget setup, but still be competitive, like stock crank, good rods and pistons, best set of heads you could afford.
You know, believe it or not, I mean, if someone's trying to do one on a budget, I would probably buy. There's numerous people sell them. Just a CNC program, like a 243 or a 317. Shit, even put that Chinese intake manifold on there. Flip manifolds in a turbo, and dude, you're making power. I mean, Derek Rendon, I don't know what exactly his setup is. And he says, over the ticking, his motor does make some funny noises, but if he goes out and mobs on it, it doesn't make noise no more. But I don't know if that's really a low dollar deal, because it does have a cool intake and intercooler and stuff like that. But dude, that truck just flat shits and gives. And to see a truck leave like that is cool. So now, the extent I went with the Mustang on the LS motor, I will never do that again.
So that's what I guess
I should have built a big block, because they're about the same.
Right. So I've talked to people, and they kind of talk to me about what I've done with the LS stuff, and I say there's like three ways of doing it. You have your stock bottom end, cheap, easy. You still put some money into it. You have kind of your middle, where it's a stock block, 4-bolt, good internals, and then it gets real expensive. And I think reliability goes away a little bit when you go to aftermarket block, aftermarket heads, the cam stuff, and all the badass valve train and all that. It just you're getting into race car parts, and it's $1,000 engine, $8,000 engine, $20,000 engine. So
yeah, about 20. I think it had about 21, 22 in it.
So you don't. I don't know. That's kind of where I was at with my car. Is I heard it and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go all dark shit and try to step my game up and be more competitive. And then I would needed a different cage and all of that. And then I started reading around on some of it, and I saw where multiple people posted that the car wasn't any more fun. Yeah, it was a little faster, but it's a whole lot more money than just having your stock bottom end type stuff. So, or not stock bottom end, but stock block. I'm surprised you're not doing a hydraulic roller.
You had to bring that up.
I'm super, like, for race week, for driving it, I'm really surprised you're not trying to do a hydraulic cam. I know you can go 850s with a hydraulic cam.
I think the record on the hydraulic cam is like a 740 something.
It's fast.
In that first gen Chevy 2 Nova, like the 62 to 5. Mm-hmm. I had the first motor, or the first LS motor, well, the only LS motor that this thing's had. I did a comp catalog grind with a set of their short travel lifters. Had T&D rockers.
Okay.
So you could actually adjust the exact amount of lifter preload you want, which they wanted like 7,000s. That thing made so much noise. That thing had so many problems, I'm hanging the valves open, all kinds of other stuff. So I called comp a couple times, and I took the rockers off, put different set of rockers. I actually had 1/8. That was another mistake I made. So I put 1/7s on there, and then sure enough, it broke 2 lifters. So I ordered another camshaft from this LS Guru, and his lifters. And I lost 12 miles an hour in the 8th with the same tune-up. And I emailed him, well, you need to tune it. I was like, what? The cams are almost identical. What do you want me to do? I mean, so out came that, and then Cam Motion did me a camshaft, and car picked right back up, which is weird. But, and with the 3rd set of lifters in it, matter of fact, we were at Good Guys up north.
Okay.
When the weather was really bad, and ran into Bank Shift Chad. He was over at GNR with us. That's when Keith worked at GNR. We all went out to hey, Matt Frost, how you doing, buddy? How'd testing go today? But anyway, we went out to Matt's Road out there, up north, and Chad was our starting line guy. And I talked to him about my valve train problems, because he does a bunch of stuff with crane. And we were, as I was coming back down the road, he stopped me. He said, man, he said, why does that thing make so much noise? I said, no one knows. So my solid cam in my Mustang was quieter than any hydraulic I had in here. So either I'm doing something wrong, but it can't be, I can't be doing that much wrong. But yeah, we had a lot of problems.
Well, you've made it work. I just, it takes that little bit more effort and make sure everything's correct. And on the drives, I've watched a lot of people brakes, valve train stuff on drag week. I'd say that's probably one of your most common things when you start really making some power and trying to get drivability is the valve train. Springs or rocker arms or whatever, and a lot of that's just heat cycles. But I know people went fast, so I just kind of wondered, as far as I'm concerned, I guess it's just easy. You don't have to worry about it, so I just think throw a hydraulic in it if you can, up until the point. I was talking to Thompson the other day on the phone, and they said you're good on hydraulic up to about 1,500 horsepower as long as you run the good stuff. 15 to that 18 range, you really need to start looking at going to the solid. So I guess that's what it is.
From what I read, there's a good post on Yellow Bullet. I think it's in the LS section, where a guy has a low lash solid.
Okay.
That's where I got the idea from it, and I think he's going thousands of miles. And he said he pulls the valve cover, checks it, they're right on point, so he just keeps going.
So curious to see, and if any of you guys have any cool builds, send them in. Message me on Facebook on the page and stuff. Let me know what you guys are doing too. I just like hearing about the different things, and I always talk to Jim about what's next or what are you trying and all of that. I always talk to him. My dad's building a half-mile car, 427 dill, twin turbo, and Jim's running the same turbos that I was thinking would work for that setup. And I called him and said, hey, would you do it any different? Would you try something else? Do you like it? Whatever. And he gave me his feedback, and I think we're heading in the right direction. So.
Oh, I think you guys do fine.
So.
I think you'll do fine.
You wanted a half-mile the Vega at one point. So I guess.
I really wanted a half-mile the Mustang.
Oh, the Mustang.
Really
the Mustang,
yes.
Yeah. You had the Vega at their strip tech, didn't you?
Yeah, we just went and
there.
hung out.
So what's your take on racing where it's at right now? I mean, of all racing, drag racing, I guess mostly related, because that's what we're into, is now Street Outlaws just had a no prep deal on TV, half-mile racing, race week. Like, what do you think? What do you like? What do you don't like? What
State of the Union of
drag
racing. I think no prep was really great.
I think it's getting over flooded now.
Oh,
everybody's throwing. Everybody has a no prep or something. It seems like
there's a lot of no preps. And the weird part was the no prep started years ago. I remember 1320 used to go down to Texas, had some no prep. Did Limpy put that on, or did Chris Hamilton put that? Someone put that on. Remember, it was on a pure white track, and they were wrecking. Remember, who was that guy who used to have that like that little Datsun Z car and stuff? I think he stuffed in the wall years ago. But it was street race guys that just went no prep racing.
Right.
Now, and I'm not taking away from anyone, track racers, but the money is so good. And the spectators, I mean, it really draws the crowd. I mean, we watched Monday night. I think most people watched. Shane wrecked. Monza just about wrecked.
The other guy did wreck. That other Mustang almost wrecked. There's two almost wrecks and two
you
wrecks.
ask people, why do you go to circuit track races? Oh, to watch the wrecks,
Yeah,
and I don't ever wish
racing.
that on no one. I mean, it happens, but eventually, I think if you race hard enough, long enough, it's going to happen. No prep adds a lot of excitement, but now, I mean, geez, who can beat Birdman? Who can beat, coming from Colorado, Matt? God, I'm real curious. He says fastest 6 foot ever. Okay, I don't know what that car's gone before the turbos on it. So if it's even faster than that now, especially on a no prep, oh yeah, that's fast. So who's got a 430 big tire car? If you don't have 430 big tire car, it's like.
So is it going to head more of your small tire True Street?
I'd really like to see small tire True Street. I just hope it takes one more year to progress because my Mustang's down.
Hopefully it's still there when it's back out.
It should be. I think the True Street events I built the Mustang for True Street type events because I still think, because it's people like me, you, Tiny, Carrie, that's just, local guys that I help out.
But you're more average racer, right?
They're the more average type cars. They get driven on a regular basis. They're not trailer queens. They get driven 30-mile drive. When someone says 30-mile drive, I was like, holy cow, we do 50 miles just Friday night going to hang out, so 30-mile drive is not that bad. I'd really like to see more True Street stuff because the limitations are there. Because, remember when they used to have like fastest street car in America back in '92? There weren't a lot of rules.
Right.
And then as it's progressing the way everything does. And now I am, pretty happy to see the steel roof, steel quarters. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't matter. By the time you acid dip roof and quarters and that stuff's paper thin, that thing doesn't weigh.
It's a full chassis car underneath.
Can you still put carbon on them? Doors and I don't follow the big.
Yeah, because it's not like the way I'd like to see it, I guess, is like your old school back half where it's factory type firewall, front suspension, that kind of thing. Because then it really keeps it. But the factory roof and quarter, literally, it's a factory roof and quarter and it's a chassis car underneath. And then you have, like you said, Birdman. I mean, Brad Anderson, Hemi, Twin 91. That's Pro Mod power plants that they're pushing down in a no prep, which is crazy.
You don't have a Pro Line 481X with a couple hair dryers or Doc's new motor. What's that? 959 cubic inches.
5 stages.
Kai Kelly, doesn't he run a Musi Hemi now? One of those 900-inch.
He runs any Musi that he wants because he can, I guess.
They're almost related.
Almost.
He's becoming dad next year.
So I guess that's a match made in heaven on that part. But but it's cool. All the different combos and everything you see at the no prep, I really like that. I think that's where NHRA and all that, it's not your common stuff, it's not your common cars, and that's where people start losing being able to, I guess, see it.
I like the challenge of no prep.
It evens everybody out for sure.
It's an equalizer, especially round one. Matt, what's so funny, Matt? Because you're so fast. Oh, see, okay. Well, we should even left out he's got a Steve Moore's badass motor. I mean, that's what big tires go to. But the money is good. I think that's the draw. I don't know if it's the money or.
It's 40 to win the Street Outlaw deal. And then it's 40 to win Bodie's thing that night, and then a week later it's Dig Night still. That's probably 20 to 50 grand or somewhere in there. So the amount of money.
You're laughing about Musi?
Oh,
he doesn't like boosted cars.
So I can't spell.
Barry, you gonna contact me or contact James?
Okay.
Probably James. James would be easier to contact. He's right down the road from me. Actually, you live up here in the Springs. Well, we could probably get with you too. I mean, I'm not gonna do any True Street stuff this year, but.
Unless the Vega fits the rules.
No, it does not fit the rules. You're talking modified, fiberglass front end, modified firewall.
Everybody gets a class, though.
Frame rails.
Everybody gets a class. You get a class, they get a class.
It's a small tire car. I'll race small tire. I have no problem racing small tire.
No, heck yeah. That's so the Vega will be out.
Yep.
Hopefully sooner than later, but
yep.
It's all part of it. that's kind of cool. We get to talk cars, even though it's the winter time. But I plan on doing this deal throughout the summer. So I'll go out and I'll film when Jim's running the big and everything like that. So we get some, I guess maybe come back to it or whatever and talk about that. So does anybody have any questions before we kind of close up, or anything else you guys want to talk about or go over? I want
Scott,
to.
okay, you got to read Scott's comment.
Yeah, we can go back to that. I want to thank Streetcar Shenanigans too. That's a pretty cool little page. That it's a secret page, but they also have a regular page. So send them a message if you kind of got a street car that you race and stuff. But you guys were real cool. Let me post the video to the page. If you guys are from on there, let me know. Really appreciate the support too.
Oh, I can't find it now.
So I could probably.
James could probably get it because he's.
Let's see. Who was it that posted it?
Scott, I don't know what his last name is. It made me laugh. I'll send that man a shirt. See, there's a lot of the comments aren't there. Maybe we'll just have to message them. When it's over with, we can read all the comments.
Yeah, we'll have to go back to it. But more or less, it was, I don't know exactly how he worded it, but the best story he had heard is a guy that the blower stuck wide open, and the guy had to climb out of the window onto the hood and cut the blower belt
While going down the road.
while going down the road.
Full
So,
throttle or something. I'll send that man a shirt because that is funny.
so we really appreciate those comments, guys. What else you guys got? Let's get some questions for Jim. Anything from tuning, or want some speed secrets, or
I don't have any secrets.
I don't know about that, but Jim's always got something up his sleeve. What do you guys think? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, see, Matt Frost said it. He said it best. It has gotten out of control. It's
So, for those that are listening, we got like 33 people right now. Where's everyone from? I'll get a shirt from Jim, and I'll give away a shirt to the person that's the furthest away from Colorado. So whoever's listening from the furthest away, I'll get you a shirt. So, yeah, I just did. North Carolina.
North
Wow.
Carolina, son. I think you got that. How did I get into tuning? Mainly because I couldn't afford to have someone do it, and it was something I always wanted to learn because I was trying to keep up with the times. And it's bad when you're at the track and you have an issue and you can't get your tuner on the phone and stuff like that. So I prefer to do my own tuning, and that's why I did it. I got a voicemail. That's odd. Phone didn't ring. That's why I did. How I got into it, I was just intrigued, and I had a friend who was a tuner, and he let me sit on the dyno with him all the time.
So, one more time, guys, whoever, post up where you're from, but we got like North Carolina, Apple Valley, California, Central Massachusetts. I'm thinking North Carolina's probably going to win this, but Massachusetts actually, yeah, that's a ways north. So that actually might. So we'll I'll look it up. I'll go through the comments.
Andrew Hassler, Fountain Tucky.
So I'll go through that, but I appreciate everybody tuning in. So whoever's the furthest away, I'll definitely get one of you guys a shirt. I'm gonna try to get some more, do some more giveaways. I really appreciate everybody joining in. So a really cool deal there.
That's all I have to give away is a shirt. I don't have anything.
No, we'll make it work, but I appreciate it, and I appreciate Jim for giving me the time. Always fun to chat with him. I'll call him up. We'll just talk for a couple hours anyway, just to talk cars. So
I will admit, guys, this was a little difficult for me because you draw a blank. Especially, there's 3 screens in front of us. You guys can't see it. There's 3. That's why you always see me looking down.
we don't want to miss any comments.
This isn't easy. It's easy. I guess it gets easier.
Yeah.
And then what you can't see is we do have our own live audience here. James had to shush him one time, but other than that, it went pretty good. And I do want to thank everyone for tuning in. I think I did see my sister-in-law, Kari, was on here. I saw my Uncle Rick was on here. These are people I haven't seen in years. David McKinley commented on my awesome hairdo. Jack McGee, hey, I'd like to hang out with you, bro. I haven't seen you in forever. You're like the GTR god now, like nationwide, worldwide. Darce, thanks, buddy. God, I haven't talked to you in forever, too. I love that old. Hey, let's talk about Darce Laws for a minute. Anyone know Darce out of Cheyenne, or not Cheyenne? Where's he from? Casper? Casper, he's up there, Wyoming somewhere.
I know it has a Wyoming
Dude,
plate.
I remember I saw that car years ago. I saw this, is it Oldsmobile?
Yeah, 442, right, or something?
I think so. Maybe I was thinking it's Buick, but
Thanks, Darce.
I saw this thing, small block Chevy, hair dryer on it. Casper, yeah. And next thing I see this thing up in Denver, doggone, dragging the bumper, hauling ass. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This thing kind of looked, no offense, Darce, it kind of looked like a grandma car or something. I was like, whoa, dude, this thing's pretty serious. But yeah, that car's fast. If I'm not mistaken, that's like an 8.0 car or 490 car in the 8th.
Yeah.
It's a little 8.5 car. Pretty neat.
Yeah, really cool cars.
Stuart Wood, don't you have a new car coming out? I think someone told me you're building a new car.
Is Jack McGee, who's
Jack's transmission.
Jack's transmission. So Jack, since you're watching stuff, buddy, I'll get you. I want to talk to you about some of the GTR stuff, and I know he does some pretty cool stuff for that whole.
Well, he does all kinds of cool stuff. The guy like re-engineered the transmission. I mean,
in a GTR that's already pretty crazy. So if you're interested in doing something like that, that'd be cool to talk about some of the stuff you got going on too. So
I don't know what that means, Jack.
What else you guys got? Any questions? Jim's here. LS, racing, no prep related, anything you guys want to know? Questions for him?
Jared, it makes me want to go racing too. It's almost warm enough, man. We could probably get some day runs in on Saturday. It's supposed to be like 55 degrees Saturday.
Get the Vega out. Maybe
54 on Saturday. So yeah, 3 o'clock day runs. Who's got a car that runs? None of us. Everyone's down for upgrades. Actually, James has a car that runs.
I got a car that runs. Yep. I fixed it towards the end of the year, so made the last couple. What else you guys think? What do you want to talk about? If not, we can do a little quick walk around, show them the car a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Show them where you're at on it, and then maybe we'll sign off. So it still has the front frame rails.
Stock frame rails, far well forward.
So is it considered stock front suspension then, right? Or is it kind of...
It's stock mounting points, just round tube control arms that I had Justin bend up the tubes for me, and I just use like the Mopar ball joints. It's got shock simulators in it because we're setting ride height to do the turbo kit. I just got done doing the body work. I've never done body work before. I tell you what, bad respect for guys who are quick at it, because I tell you right now, I'm trying to fit. This is a Unlimited Products 77 front end, but this is a 74 grill from a factory Vega. So I had to fiberglass a bunch of stuff in, make some tabs, so I'm getting it. It's getting there now. And then right now we're redoing the turbo kit to give us a little more tire clearance because the car sits a little lower, and just kind of tidying stuff up, getting ready for paint. Car, like I said, I hopefully have the car painted by March, and we're actually going to carpet the interior. I found some doors, so we're actually going to have doors with door panels with windows that roll up and down. So I'm trying to make it more street.
More street car stuff.
Yep. We're going to put a radio in it.
Still got your cup holders in there?
Yep, it's got cup holders.
So it's a really cool car, guys. Lots of nostalgia to it, I guess, and it's been around a long time, so it's cool to, all the local people want to see it come back out, all that stuff. So let's make sure, no last minute questions. Who's gonna paint the car? Still up in the air on that one?
Still up in the air on that one. I have a commitment, and I'm sure he's gonna do it. Probably my buddy Chad's gonna swear it for me. I'm gonna prep it, so yeah, I'll do all the prep work, and then my buddy Chad will probably swear it for me.
Cool. Well, right on, guys. We appreciate it. Make sure you go like Jim's page, JNS Polishing, the Pope. I'll tag him in the next one that he builds too for the Vega and all that, and make sure you keep up with him. If you see him out at the track, support him. Get a shirt from him if you can. Say hi. If somebody wants to get a shirt from you, where do they go? What do they need to do? The Pope page?
You can go to the Pope page and just message on the Pope page.
Message the Pope page and get you guys a shirt. How much are they?
$20.
20 bucks. So
well, they're 20 if you pick them up. I think it's like 25 shipped.
So if you guys can, support him, and it's a cool shirt anyway, so we appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
So there it is. If you made it through all 1 hour and 43 minutes of the video or whatever it was, I appreciate it extremely. Now, if you want to see somebody else or someone you know on the show, even if they're a distance away, send me a message, tag them in it, have us get in contact, and help me bring them to you guys live. Thanks.